Hey everybody, and welcome to the Inspired Disorder podcast. My name is Ray Taylor, and tonight I am joined by...
I'm Derek Helmer.
And I'm Justin King.
The Inspired Disorder podcast is a weekly art/geek culture podcast. We cover topics ranging anywhere from tech to art to movies to video games and everything in between. We tend to try and broadcast live Wednesday nights starting at 11:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You can find that feed at inspireddisorder.com/live, and we post the edited version at inspireddisorder.com/podcast, or you can find that on your iTunes marketplace by Saturdays. In this particular episode 13, it's going to be a bit of a science fiction based episode. We're going to start off with a little news article type thing, something that scientists are working on, which is ripped straight out from Sci-Fi, and then we're just going to go into a bunch of other sci-fi stuff. We're going to do a lot of sci-fi talk in this one. So let's just get the show started, guys.
Let's do this.
What do you say?
Why not?
Why
yeah.
not?
I love the enthusiasm.
Yes.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. So, Justin, this is something that you brought to our attention. Why don't you kind of just give everybody a brief synopsis of what this article said and what it means and everything in betweens?
Well, basically, I'm not a brain scientist, so it's be hard for me to explain in a common sense, really. But basically, what scientists are working on right now is being able to pull video scenes from people's thoughts. It's actually a reality. They're working on it right now. It's getting pretty good already at this point. They're using an fMRI scan to scan the visual cortex of people watching YouTube videos. And there's also another program running outside of that are watching the same videos. And the program's predicting which images the people will be able to remember. And using the data from the computer outside of the mind with the computer that they're running from the fMRI scan, they're able to actually produce images of people's thoughts using this kind of combination of information. It's really hard to explain. You have to read the article to really get the gist of it. I mean, it's so many things that I have no idea what they're talking about. It's like fMRI things and neurons and it's craziness. But basically, they're getting down right now an ability to where you can take a memory from your mind using an fMRI scan, using neurons in your brain, and create a video image of what you remember. The images they can produce right now are really blurry. For example, in the article, they talk about a clip on YouTube of Steve Martin, and they're able to produce an image of Steve Martin, but his face was blurry. So it's like the details aren't really there yet, but you can kind of get the gist of what's going on in the video through this procedure they're doing. So it's pretty mind blowing. I mean, we're getting close. I'd say in about maybe 10 years, possibly 15 years. Who knows?
Yeah.
We're able to actually have a program we can hook up to our computer. Who knows? And think really hard about our.
Well, it's
about our-
probably going to be more like just basically capturing our memories or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, so this article was from Live Science.
Livescience.com.
Yeah, livescience.com. The title or the headline is "Video Scenes Pulled from People's Thoughts."
Yeah, it's definitely worth a look. Read it yourself because, like I said, it's really hard for me to explain because, again, I'm not a brain scientist. So there's a lot of terms here that I have no idea what they're talking about.
Yeah.
But read it, get the gist of it. It's pretty amazing. We're almost there.
Yeah. So, yeah. Go ahead, Derek.
Oh no, I got nothing.
You got nothing.
I'm sitting here enjoying the show. Apparently, I'm on it. I don't know.
Well, they talk about in the article a movie called The Final Cut, starring Robin Williams and Mira Sorvino, which kind of mirrors what they're talking about in the article, which I haven't seen, so I can't tell from personal experience.
Seen that either.
But yeah, there's been a couple movies that have kind of related to what they're talking about here in the article.
Is that you? So you've seen that movie, Derek?
Yeah, I watched it a few years back. But yeah, I mean, like his job is like an actual he's a cutter. He edits people's memories together.
Okay.
Say like it's kind of like their version of having like a wedding photographer or something. You can have a cutter go through your memories and assemble like a nice version of the day.
So memory editor.
Yeah, or for like funerals. Actually, I think that was probably the big thing. Was like he would do funerals and you would see glimpses of that person's life. So I guess this is like more science eventuality than fiction, as it turns out.
Yeah, well, which a lot of science fiction is. But actually, what I was going to say is this article says that it's unconfirmed or something to that effect. Like, it's basically just statements that these people said that they can do, but there's no real, or there's no, they haven't been able to
video of
repeat
the
it.
results.
Yeah, so there's no real proof that they can do it. But with a lot of the brains, I mean, I watch one of the podcasts I watch is TED, and it's like the smartest people in the world, and they go and talk for 15 minutes about what they know and stuff like that, and try to inspire people or just kind of develop a conversation. And there's a lot of stuff where we're getting to know how the brain works and things like that. So even if this isn't totally true necessarily, like they haven't necessarily been able to do this for real, I can see this like being real in the future at some point
in our lifetimes.
Yeah, and the movie that I was thinking of that this reminded me of was Strange Days. Do you guys?
Yeah,
I've never seen that one.
I've seen that.
It's like it was made in like '95, and it was about the whole Y2K thing. Like, kind of, it was around that time. Like, it was the end, like New Year's Eve on 1999 or whatever. And at that time in that future, which was only 4 years ahead of when they released the movie, you could basically have memories on like little mini discs, and you could just pop them in and like revisit memories, like first person type stuff, or you can purchase memories on the black market and stuff like that. But that's what this article like totally. Like that was the first thing that I thought of when I read this, is like that's totally like Strange Days, and or like The Matrix almost, but it's
I see it as Minority Report. How they're able to get like the precogs, visions.
Well, although that's more like they're predicting a future rather than revisiting it or like seeing what's going on at the moment.
Yeah. But just the fact that they're able to get what's in their head out onto a video screen.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
that's where
yeah. So whether this, this article or these scientists actually have done that, or they think they can do it, and they're just trying to get some press or maybe some money or something like that, it's definitely interesting and definitely ties into the main part of this episode. Which is, we're going to talk about science fiction.
The fact that people are like just working on this in general is pretty crazy, and that there's been strides taken to make this happen is insane in my opinion.
I don't know, like I kind of believe it, and I really kind of don't. Like I can believe that you may be able to get like a fuzzy image, like just one still, from the brain.
Yeah.
I can't see them being able to like put together almost like full motion video with it, whether it's blurry or not. Just the fact that you can get like this, linear footage, to play back. I just do not see that happening. So I don't know. Who knows? But I definitely can think that it's definitely possible.
Yeah.
To.
I don't think it's true necessarily. I think it's definitely possible, but I mean, I think the first part will be discovering what types of things people are thinking about, whether while they're seeing what they're seeing, like emotions they're feeling, because that's something that's probably more easily detectable in the brain, like if they're feeling happy or sad, because usually those fire different parts of the brain, and stuff like that. But I don't know if they can actually. I mean, that would almost. I don't know. I don't know if they'd actually. It would just be blurry. Like if they could do this, I don't think blurriness would be the one downside to, or the one wrench in their machine of being able to see stuff. But I mean, maybe they do, and we just haven't seen the proof, and they're just still working on it. But either way, I mean, there's tons of stuff. There's tons of things in this crazy world of ours that were unbelievable, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 100 years ago, that are, commonplace now. So who are we to say? Who am I to say? What is true and what is false? Because I am not a brain scientist either. Although
you don't say.
Yeah, although I have many scalpels and have a few brains stored away in a secret spot that I don't want to tell anybody about. Yeah. The scary part is Justin's my roommate, so I might be looking for a new co-host pretty soon.
Careful.
Please.
Anyway,
I just got a job, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so basically, we're gonna just move right into, let's just talk about some of our favorite, sci-fi, either movies, it could be TV shows or books or whatever it is, science fiction, that we just like in general. Because that is, whether it's fact or fiction, that's very science oriented and something that's pulled from science fiction. I'm sure not only movies, but books and comics and other things like that. So Justin, let's just start with you. Let's just throw you right in the spotlight. And why don't you kind of talk about some of your favorite sci-fi things.
Well, I was born in 1981, so I grew up in the 80s, of course. And yeah, sci-fi was a huge part of my life growing up. I became a nerd right off the bat, basically. I got into stuff like, of course, Star Wars. I was introduced to Star Wars when I was about maybe 5 or 6 years old. I loved it. I loved every second of Star Wars. I actually was old enough to see Return of the Jedi in the theaters when it first came out. I remember bits and pieces of it, but I was still really young. I was like maybe 7 or 8 when Return of the Jedi was in the theaters. So, but Star Wars for sure. Star Trek also. I remember watching The Next Generation when I was a little kid growing up. I loved it. Loved Star Trek. The original series, maybe not so much. But The Next Generation is where Star Trek kind of like struck a chord. And I loved it from that point on. Also, the cartoons back then were just amazing. Shit like the Thundercats. The Last Starfighter. So much stuff. I mean, the 80s with sci-fi was just the golden age, in my opinion, of sci-fi was the 80s.
Yeah.
There's nothing really in the 90s that really struck a chord with me as far as sci-fi goes, besides stuff like, if you guys remember Sequest, the old show Sequest back in the day.
Dude. Hell
with
yeah.
The talking dolphin Darwin. I loved that fucking show. That was from,
got that on.
So do I.
I've got that on my Netflix queue.
Are you serious?
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
I've watched it for so long. I've wanted to find it on DVD somewhere.
I'll say it didn't age too well, but
I'm
Yeah.
sure it didn't. But
I remember the CG being not so great looking even back then, and I'm sure it looks just horrible now. But yeah,
it's like Star Trek underwater.
exactly.
Yeah, exactly. But the cartoons especially were what really hooked me.
Yeah.
Like really not G.I. Joe. That wasn't really sci-fi, but the cartoons and that kind of He-Man, I would say, was maybe sci-fi a little bit.
Fantasy.
Yeah, fantasy. Thundercats, like I said. Voltron.
Yeah.
I fucking loved Voltron. Transformers, of course.
Yeah.
Love the old Transformers cartoons. Even Beast Wars Transformers in the early 90s. I used to watch that also back in the day. X-Men, of course, as far as the comic book side of it goes. But yeah, sci-fi I grew up on. I've always loved it.
Well, let me just blow your mind real quick, Justin.
Blow my mind.
With a 90s sci-fi thing.
Do it.
The Matrix.
Oh,
Hells
fuck yeah. 90, what was that, 98?
99.
That was like
99.
98 or 99. Yeah, that was
yeah,
somewhere
just
around
in
there.
The Matrix is groundbreaking. I loved every second of the first Matrix.
And just to note, the sound that Justin's mind makes when it blows is the sound that sounds very similar to "fuck yeah." So if he ever says that just means that his mind has been blown.
Fuck yeah.
But yeah,
Something
that was
just
definitely
triggered.
probably one of the biggest, sci-fi movies of
that
like,
movie
the
redefined
90s.
the whole action movie genre, not just sci-fi.
Oh, yeah.
It totally revolution. I mean, it just totally flipped the script on action movies in general, not just for science fiction. But
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Derek, what are some of your sci-fi inspirations?
Well,
motivations?
as with Justin, Star Wars probably, broke it in for me. Raised on Star Wars even before I knew what the hell it was. Seeing these movies when I was probably like 3. It was just always on. I was born in 80, so same deal.
With me.
yeah.
So Star Wars. Like in 6th grade, I totally became a Star Trek nerd. I don't know why. I think
I think
Star
they
Trek.
call those Trekkies.
Yes. Well, I wouldn't say that I'll go as far as saying that I'm of that genre of fan, but
You haven't gotten the pointy ears yet.
no, I never bought a single piece of merchandise from Star Trek, so it was strictly a love of the films.
Okay.
I'd watch the TV show here and there, like Next Generation, but it was actually, I think, when Star Trek 6, like the Undiscovered
Country. Yes, I saw that in the theaters. I saw 5 in the theaters too. I thought 5 was horrible. Even back then, I thought 5 was a piece of shit. But
as a
6
kid, I was just bored by it, But
Yeah.
6, I was like,
6 was awesome.
wow,
Star Trek 4 was badass too. I like Star
heck
Trek
yeah.
4.
Yeah, that was a good like HBO movie when you were a
Yeah.
kid. It was
The fact
always
that they were
on.
like in our time in San Francisco was a trip.
Well, that's still that one aged actually really well.
Yes,
like,
it did.
Like San Francisco in the 80s is just hilarious to see. But like actually as a recent Blade Runner, like in the last
Nice.
year,
Yeah.
I really became a fan of Blade Runner because I had a college professor who assigned us to watch the movie. Like we had to write, like a 10-page paper on it.
Yeah.
And that was actually one of the better assignments I've ever had.
What class was that from?
Well, that was just for regular English,
Okay.
but she was a sci-fi freak, and actually,
Well, that movie is based on the novel by Philip K. Dick.
right,
Like, do robots count
Dream
sheep?
of Electric Sleep or something, or Electric
sheep.
Sheep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Um,
yeah. Okay.
So yeah, she didn't have us read the book. It was funny, but yeah, she just wanted. We had to watch the 3 different versions of the
Which
film.
I think there's more now.
Actually, there's more. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think there's actually 5.
They've come out with so many different.
He just never puts that movie to rest.
Yeah.
Like just constantly tweaking one thing and releases another DVD of it. It's
Yeah.
just like. But anyway, so yeah, Blade Runner, very cool. Jurassic Park, which
Nice.
when I was young,
Think
that
of
was
that one.
well, that you think of that as an action movie, but
Yeah.
it totally
Totally
is.
sci-fi. Yeah, and
That movie scared the shitballs out of me in the theaters.
Hell yeah.
That T-Rex scene, I
Oh.
swear, in the theaters, I think I was maybe 12 when that came out.
yeah,
11 or 12 when that came out, and that T-Rex scene where he's, the glass shatters in the Jeep, and it's like right on the kids, and
yeah,
it's insane. And the fact that was an actual robot that was actually there, that
Mhm.
wasn't CG, that was there, just blew my mind.
Well, for a sound geek like myself, like the sound in that movie just
Oh, yeah.
scares the crap out of me.
Oh, yeah.
Even to this day, like, oh, that is some great sound design work. So yeah, Jurassic Park. Aliens.
Oh,
Aliens
yeah.
is like Alien is the first one is cool, but Aliens is like freaking badass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alien was more like a horror movie. in my
Exactly.
opinion. Aliens was just like badass action. Just
But Aliens is just like modern day video games now.
yeah, exactly.
Halo or something.
The loaders,
Yeah.
which they're using in Avatar, looks like
Oh
coming
yeah,
up here.
true.
And Matrix Revolutions, I might add.
Yeah. So I don't know. Sci-fi fans just love the fact that a human climbing into a big old exoskeleton.
Yeah.
Gets it for him.
The
But
mech.
big fan of AI.
Oh yeah, I actually was like kind of I was lukewarm about it. I don't know if it was because I knew that it was a Kubrick film that got taken over by Spielberg.
Right.
But I remember liking it. I mean, Haley Joel Osment was huge then. 'Cause that was shortly after The Sixth Sense. But I haven't revisited it since the theater. And I don't remember if I was working at the movie theater at the time, but I don't remember if I was a projectionist or working on the floor.
Actually, I think you were a projectionist.
Yeah. So in that case, then I probably saw it in the booth, which that's probably not the best
worst place,
way to experience the movie. But I remember it was long, and I don't know. I think I remember it was just like really slow, and I don't know.
It's like 3 different movies in one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Really divided.
I really want to go back to that because I've heard like people like talk positively about it, more positively than I remember it. So that's definitely
that's a really good like at home movie. Some movies just work better at home than they do in the theater, and that's like because it is a slow paced movie. It's definitely like a couch film.
Yeah. The good thing about slow movies, like if you're bored, you can just stop it. And do
take a break.
Come back to it. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I have a huge, just Steven Spielberg fetish, so that was like awesome to me.
Yeah.
But a friend of mine is just, the same way with Kubrick, so when he sees it, it's just like, Spielberg ruined this thing, which a lot of people share.
Well, they're very different styles.
Oh yeah,
pretty much. So it's kind of weird for that baton to be passed between those two guys. So
yeah. Battlestar Galactica is probably the most recent thing as far as sci-fi goes for me. That thing had me hooked. And I avoided that show for like the first 2 seasons thinking that, oh my gosh, this is just got to be geeky. Like I tried to watch a few minutes of it and just could not get into it. And then for some reason, I took the notion to buy the miniseries on iTunes one day.
So you just buy stuff you don't like.
Not, I think it was around the time that I had just.
It was
gotten...
like being recommended so much or something that you're I gotta get it.
I'll just.
There's something to this.
And I thought like, all right, I can pay like $3.99 for it. That's all right, not too bad. And I wanted to I had just gotten the video iPod, iPod with video. Ooh. So I was looking for stuff to put on it, and that seemed like a logical choice. And then so I was hooked after that, and just. Galactica on the brain. So yeah, I'm a huge Battlestar fan. But yeah, like most of these things I don't buy merchandise for. I'm a sci-fi film fan, but I like them as movies, and I tend to leave it there. Ultimately, like I've been talking about this back and forth. But Star Trek, the one that was released this year, I think by far, oh my gosh, like that gets me excited because I think that's like the rebirth of sci-fi, as like being a cool thing. So yeah, the new Star Trek is totally badass.
Sweet.
Well, it brought the Star Trek series to a whole different genre or demographic of people, I should say.
And it made it exciting because a lot of the whole Star Trek thing is it's very slow and
a lot of terms that people might not know about.
Yeah, it's like
science
submarines in space.
Yeah,
which submarines are pretty slow moving. So the battles for that's like watching a fight in slow mo.
Well, I mean that I add just completely to J.J. Abrams, who I am like a recent fan of. I watched Lost, and I know he was famous from TV from other shows like Felicity and Alias. But Lost was just kind of like, yeah, I'll watch it. It's on. Like I follow it every week, but I've never like really loved the show. It's just like, yeah, it's on. But it wasn't until probably like Mission Impossible 3 that I really developed like an appreciation for J.J. Abrams. And now, like, if he directs a movie, I don't care what the subject is, I'm watching his movies, dude. That guy is like, seriously, he has to be the next Spielberg. I think if anybody is, like, he's going to be taking up that.
I think he's probably like a combination of Spielberg and Michael Bay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like, he
lightsabers.
has
Yeah,
the
you know, that's
scope.
good.
That's a good.
He's like the
yeah.
scope of Michael Bay, like the
Mm.
crazy stuff, but he's not like stupid.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
he brings the emotional part from.
He knows how to tell a story.
It's not just
Exactly,
things
yeah.
blowing up and
Yeah.
things transforming.
So I don't know. I think that's probably, in my opinion, that's like the combination of J.J. Abrams. But he actually did a talk at TED, which is really good.
Did he really?
Yeah,
Ooh.
he did a. It was about this. He went when he was a child. He went to a magic shop, and they had this mystery box for sale. It's like a brown box with a question mark painted on it, or whatever. And he bought it, and to this day he has never opened it. But basically, just the mystery of what that could be is more important than what is inside of it. Because once you open it, it's it can't live up to what you can expect of it. And he actually brought it when he was talking, but it's a really good talk, and I'd recommend.
How awesome is that?
Going to
that's just
listen to
a
that.
cool idea. That's like a movie right there.
Yeah.
Just
Oh,
a-
I'm sure at some point when he's got his action stuff get
Out of the
slows
way.
down, and he's like he wants to do a serious movie. I could see him doing like some deep stuff. But yeah, it's TED.com, I think, and just search J.J. Abrams and watch it. It's definitely good.
Well, see, that kind of says something right there that he was invited to talk at TED.
Oh yeah. Well,
because-
he kind of came. I don't know where he came from, but it was kind of out of nowhere, and he's done like these extremely good things. Like he's kind of blown the doors off of a lot of things. Like even Lost, when it started, like the pilot for Lost looked like a movie. Like the production value of it looked like a movie, and I think he produced Fringe or something. Like
yeah,
that.
actually, he does work on that. He's
So and that
Fringe is fucking awesome. I love
Yeah,
that.
and
You know, I've never watched an episode of that.
I
I
haven't
need to
either.
watch
Recommend?
Fringe, which they're
Alright.
probably going to cancel pretty soon, which sucks. But yeah, Fringe is awesome.
But one of the things when it was starting was that the production value looked really good, that it looked like movie quality, and that's one of the things. He does really high quality stuff, whether, and then it has a depth to it too. Although I haven't watched Lost. I haven't watched any episodes of Lost, and I haven't watched any episodes of Fringe. But I've seen, what was that? Mission Impossible 3?
Yeah.
And I watched the Sci-Fi movie he produced.
Yeah, I know what you're. I'm trying to think of the title of that. Cloverfield,
Yes.
which
And
I'm a huge fan of. A lot of people hated
Yeah,
that movie. but
Yeah. And I even saw that movie. I went with Justin and then another one of our coworkers at the time. And we sat in like the front row.
It was the very front row.
And
Oh, man.
So it was the most shaky movie I've ever seen, probably. And we were the closest to the screen, just like our necks were killing. Actually, our friend we went to go see, we dropped him off at his apartment, and he almost fell down the stairs because he was so disoriented from the movie.
Oh, jeez.
And it was hilarious. But yeah, he not only like creates good stuff, but he's involved with like really exciting things, which is really cool.
Well, he's smart,
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
He's really
Yeah.
smart. About
And if you
what
watch
he's-
that TED Talk, you can see really how smart he is. Because you don't really get to see him talk about things. You just kind of see the work he's done.
Well, I think the reason why I like him so much is because he kind of reminds me of guys like us. Like he is totally cut from our
Like
cloth.
really smart,
Oh yeah.
produces high quality, entertaining content.
He's a geek art culture guy.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know,
And
so-
we're pretty close to getting our invitations to speak at TED, so
Let's get
that would-
JJ on the show, Ray. Make it happen.
That's right.
Yeah, okay. I'll give him a call. I'll give his publicist a call. So anyway, my movies, Strange Days, obviously, just because that related to Justin's topic. The original Star Wars, not a big fan of the newer 3. I haven't even watched the last one.
Well, that is the one to watch if you're
I've
gonna.
fallen asleep like so many times. Every time I wake up, I'll watch it and I fall asleep. Every time I wake up, it's like people spinning in the air with their lightsabers.
Yeah.
It's like, screw you,
The
man.
prequels had 2 saving graces, in my opinion.
Yeah.
The first saving grace was Darth Maul versus Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That fight
And
scene was awesome.
Qui-Gon. That was
Yeah.
the saving grace of the first one. And the final battle in Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, was also
Yeah,
badass.
seriously.
No, man. Like the
it's
ending,
about 20 minutes long. I think it was just epic. So the prequels are worth watching for those two things.
Yeah.
Skip episode 2 entirely. That was just a big piece of shit, in my opinion.
Yeah,
but
I
there's
don't
a
know.
couple
They're
things you need to
like,
see.
dude, and they picked the worst person to play Anakin for the
not
second
a Hayden
two.
fan, huh?
He's just he's whiny. He's a little
Whiner.
whiny dude in every movie. He's never like asserts himself at all, and I can't see him. Like even I watched Jumper, and I was just waiting for him to like start whining and complaining. That's what he does in every movie. But yeah, I don't know. And even the end of the third one is the most corniest. Like Darth Vader does the corniest thing ever in movie history.
That's been like
no.
Yes.
It's been spoofed so many times.
Let's just like scream no while waving your hands and screaming up at the camera that's like tracking away from you. It was horrible. It was
Lucas
so
really,
bad.
I understand
with that one.
I understand why it's in there. Like I know that like George Lucas was trying to say, like he's trying to like scream, but that's all he can get out. But any person in their right mind, when they actually, that sounds good on paper. You're okay. Yeah, you can't scream the way he wants to, but the way it's enacted is just that should have been cut.
Well, we're laughing when I first saw it in the theater. People were actually laughing at that when I first.
I know.
Yeah.
I me too. I
wasn't at the theater, but I was laughing.
Oh man. So
yeah. Well, after Indiana Jones, I don't think he needs to be involved in movies.
Oh yeah,
anymore.
I was just going to bring that up. Like Lucas and Spielberg need to stop messing with their '80s franchises and just leave them alone.
Ruined Indiana Jones, which is not a science fiction movie, but Back to the Future is, and that is awesome movie.
Heck yeah!
Do not, please. Wait, who's the director of that movie again? Zemeckis?
Zemeckis did like the first one or two of those, and I don't remember who did the third one. But
no, he did them all actually.
Did he do all three?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Zemeckis has the hindsight to not mess with that franchise. It's not going to happen. I've heard rumors for years about.
I wouldn't be surprised if he comes back and does a whole like CGI rendering of that, like
with a CG
Story.
Marty McFly and Doc Brown.
Since what's his face that Michael J. Fox has that disease, I could see him just doing the whole CG thing, and Michael J. Fox just has to put his voice to it, and that's how Michael J. Fox.
Well,
that's
the only way you'd be able to get a performance out of it. It's like if you did a CGI version.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you'd have this Marty McFly just constantly moving.
I have to bring up another movie we haven't talked about yet. That's kind of in the same vein as The Last Starfighter, which came out, I think, a couple years before. Tron, the original Tron.
Yes.
Blew my mind.
Never seeing it.
Are you serious? You never seen Tron?
I've seen like the motorcycle, the speeder bike thing, light bikes.
Okay.
Like I've seen scenes from it, but no, I've never actually sat.
See, I was playing the Atari, the original Atari, and the original Sega Master System at the time. So these movies coming out that time, like based on video games, were just struck a chord, man.
Yeah. But I know like Tron 2.0 or whatever that's coming out.
Tron Legacy.
Legacy, that's it. Yeah, the game is 2.0.
That.
So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. So the next one, Primer, has to do with time travel. Independent movie made for like $7,000. Fucking amazing movie.
Primer.
So amazing. You almost have to watch it a few times to like fully get the grasp of it. But like the guy that wrote the movie is a genius, basically, at least in my opinion. But he made it for $7,000, and it looks like type of like District 9 type stuff. No special effects really. There's like one special effects shot, but it's just so well done. It's so smart. It's Primer. If you like time travel movies, moving on from the Back to the Future.
Is it as good as Time Cop starring Jean-Claude Van Damme?
It is.
It better be.
It is way better, except for nobody does like a splits in a kitchen and like posts up on two countertops with his feet.
Well, then it's not as good.
Well, actually, I beg to differ. Although it's tough on the brain.
Better luck next time, Ray. Sounds really like good. Time Cop beat it.
Yeah. So and then also Matrix, which I've also I'm in the minority, I know, but I like all three of the Matrix.
Same here. I have.
I liked actually the second Matrix. I think I like the second one the best. When I think about it,
Really?
I don't know. Something about the second one. I don't know.
I think what ruined the second two Matrix movies is all the clone movies. Like every single movie after the first Matrix came out did all the stuff from. They all had the wire movement. They all had the same like slow mo, like everything. Everything was clone of the Matrix, and that just like killed it. And they did some new stuff. The only things I didn't like were the rubber people. When they did the CG fighting scenes.
Oh yeah, like the whole Burly Brawl.
But I mean, they were trying something new, which is fine. So I can't really hate on that. But I, as a whole, like it was a really good story. I liked where it went. I liked everything. It's the only other than Point Break, that's like the only movie that I like Keanu Reeves in. Well, actually, now that I say that, my next one,
Constantine was pretty good. I have to say, Constantine.
I don't remember that. But
you don't remember that movie?
I know I've watched it, but I don't. It didn't really stick out. But Scanner Darkly.
Oh yeah,
is another movie adapted from a Philip K. Dick book. Awesome. It's done by the guy that did another movie that's really similar to that, and I can't think of it. But it's like animation. They did like they filmed the whole movie and then they rotoscoped everything, so it's all animation on top of live acting. But it's an amazing like story, I guess. But yeah, like there's a lot of, and then Minority Report, which is of course another Philip K. Dick book, similar
that's actually one of Spielberg's like better movies of that era.
Minority Report, yeah,
dude,
definitely. That movie that's got good sound. Let me tell you something.
Oh yeah, that shotgun thing there, where they trolled around to shoot it.
Yes, like the little sawed-off laser gun.
Yeah,
looked like, but yeah. So that was amazing, and then they had like the really bleached out, watered down colors too, which made
I know, I love the look of that
very
film.
Sterile, and I think it reminded me a lot of the Band of Brothers, like how that was really desaturated and stuff like that.
Yeah, this bleach bypass.
Yeah.
So when I saw the trailer for Minority Report, and I like everything's got this like bleach and blue hue to it, and I'm like, this is gimmicky, but it totally, if it didn't have it, I don't know, it would look so cheesy. I think
they couldn't make it gritty, because everything in the future is clean, because they have robots to clean everything up. But the director that did that one also did Waking Life, or not that one, but the Scanner Darkly.
Okay.
So Waking Life, which is similar, he did like the whole thing, and he did some commercials too. I forget what they were for, but like the whole rotoscoping over the actors and stuff like that. And then Last Starfighter, which Justin mentioned, and Terminator 2.
Oh yeah,
which I suppose Terminator 1, I don't think I've ever watched
Terminator 1 was kind of before my time personally, but Terminator 2, I saw in the theater.
Terminator 2 like totally broke some boundaries, especially with visual effects.
T-1000 was just like, and when I first saw that in theaters, I was like, they can do that?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Oh yeah, like all the visuals, that won Best Visual Effects and like Academy Award for that, which, to this day, it's like they still hold that for the most part.
Actually, now that you mentioned Terminator 2, one I would put in there as well is The Abyss.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, James Cameron.
Is another Cameron. And maybe we'll have to do another one next year for Avatar.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm not holding my breath.
Depending.
Well, I've seen a couple scenes online from Avatar. Like, there's one where he's being chased by this creature through the forest that hit IGN here just last week that looked pretty crazy.
Well, the whole part of Avatar is 3D. Like, it has to blow people's minds in 3D.
Well, I don't think it's going to work if it doesn't happen.
Yeah, which actually, just a side note, there's a new show on Revision 3 called Landline TV. And it's like sketch comedy. And the first one is basically about James Cameron. And it starts off with the like a clip from the trailer for Avatar. And then it pans up, and it's James like hugging a laptop, and then he looks up at the producers. He's like, "I'm gonna need $45 million more because this is good, but I can make it look better." and the whole thing is like him being like addicted to, getting. It's like he's a drug addict to get more CG and more production out of this movie, and it's actually pretty funny.
Well, I saw that show advertised, and I will definitely be checking it out.
Yeah, it was pretty. I actually heard. I don't know if it was they were talking about this, but I heard something similar about the whole James Cameron thing. That's like how he's acting with the whole deal.
Well, he did talk it up a lot at Comic-Con. Just like just about the technology period. You know, like this movie. I don't think he cares one crap about the story. It's just like this technology. Like look, look what I've done.
Yeah, which which it doesn't seem like he's doing what he did with Terminator 2. Like Terminator 2, he pushed like so many boundaries with the technology that he used, but it wasn't all about the technology. Like there was so many good things about that movie. But yeah, so we'll see how that all goes.
The Abyss also, as far as CG goes, also
that was like the first like crazy CG thing.
This the whole premise of the movie was just awesome. Like these aliens they've been here for a while. They're friendly. They just want to come up and say hi. That's like the whole basis of the whole movie.
Yeah, which they kind of use the same effect in Donnie Darko.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah. Which I think that director uses that effect a lot, from what I've heard.
We had the Abyss kind of look with like the watery creatures.
Yeah. He has a lot of like watery type.
Yeah, Donnie Darko had that kind of time effect. They're kind of produced with that.
Yeah.
So I remember that.
All right, so let's just move on to like some of the cool like technology ideas that have come from science fiction. Like,
okay.
If stuff that you've seen in the past that's now like a reality, or stuff that you know of, that's was once science fiction but now is basically in reality and on Amazon. So like Minority Report, their computer screens, obviously that's not here right now, but I mean,
it's
with
on its way.
Touchscreen computers and with that technology that Xbox is coming up with, which I can't think of the name of it right now. Natal, yeah, Project Natal. They were saying that it's going to be something that would be one of the applications that technology could be used for, something similar to that, especially with 3D. Like a lot of 3D TVs are supposed to be coming out, so that could definitely be, a reality pretty soon. But is there any like technology ideas that you really dug as far as sci-fi?
Well, it always that stood out for Minority Report. Like that's the first thing I look at when I see Minority Report. It's just like, oh man, I want that system.
Well, same with Iron Man, the first Iron Man movie that came out just a couple of years ago. His whole computer system where he was taking the 3D model and transferring it across from the computer screen onto that little hologram table, and then making it a whole 3D image and putting his arm into it to test it out. That was just, I just wanted that so bad, and I saw that.
Another thing from Iron Man, freaking Jarvis. Man,
yes,
that butler. Dude, I mean,
awesome.
Not exactly practical, not in this day and age yet, but how awesome would that be just to have this, like, just the idea of like whatever it is that the OS of your home, is also in your vehicle.
Yeah,
it's
like,
anywhere you go, you've got this,
Start my car up. Okay.
Yeah. Which I think that is actually pretty likely that you can have the same.
There's stuff similar to that. It's not as like
called OnStar.
Seamless. Yeah. Well, OnStar, but then there's like the Ford Sync is out now, and that's like
right,
all
which I keep hearing a lot about from Leo Laporte.
Yeah,
heard him talk about this.
And
so
then there's already like home like
automation
systems, where you can just speak to it. So it's there, but it's not quite all fleshed out yet.
Yeah.
But that's something that's gonna happen like easily within the next like 5 to 10 years. No worries.
If I could get Jarvis with like Butterfingers, like those two together.
Yeah.
Totally.
Actually, another thing from Minority Report I think is really cool is the maglev system. which is their transportation method for like day-to-day commutes, where they have those like magnetic cars that are on the tracks.
It's all pre-automated and no driving whatsoever. For
I would love that, especially
just get in and go.
Especially given my events of recent, what's been going on.
No kidding, man.
Jennifer Townsend's events, yeah.
Although there was a technology, I remember watching on Discovery or Learning Channel or something like that in Europe, where there were these cars that you got in and they basically followed a track. It was pretty similar. But people did not like it because they don't want to that's like mass transportation, basically. But you're in separate cars.
Well, I remember in the early 90s, actually, that this used to be hyped up a lot, that the 5 freeway in between like Orange County and San Diego, there's about a 20-mile stretch of it that was going to be the first smart highway that would drive your car for you, and that they were working on installing, the technology. Now this is like 93, 94 that they were starting to talk about this.
Yeah.
So we know full well the technology wasn't there at the time for that. So they were just playing around, but they actually did install for 20 miles, and they would show it on like there used to be shows like Beyond 2000 on Discovery. And that shows anyway. They show that the car would drive itself on this freeway. Just for those 20 miles, and then you'd have to go back.
Disneyland.
Yeah, I mean, in between, just
craziness.
LA, so very, very possible. But I don't know why. I guess it's that same reason that people really want to be in control of their cars.
Well, there's other technology that's out. Like I was watching Top Gear, and there's I forget which car manufacturer.
I think Mercedes. I think I know what you're talking about.
Possibly, yeah. And they had they have cameras there's one that can parallel park for you. There was a Beamer that they drove around, like they have a test track at their location, and it could basically learn, like they drove it around like while recording, whatever, like the computer in the car was recording, and then they basically had the car drive one of the hosts around. And they had a camera on his feet. They had a camera on him, so you could see that none of his feet were touching any of the pedals. He wasn't touching the wheel, and it would like accelerate, brake, turn around the whole track, and it went through a whole lap at like the same exact speed and everything that he went through.
Crazy.
And then there was another one that would stop, like it could see cars.
Yeah, it had a radar.
Yeah, and like know how to stop and everything.
That was the Mercedes, that had it built in.
Yeah, so they're doing a lot of stuff like that's going to be really smart, but obviously it's only going to be in the high-end cars. So, and who's to say, I mean, if you're relying on something like that, like what happens, I mean, any computer, I don't care what kind of computer you have or any kind of electronical device, what happens if your like car crashes, like computer-wise? Yeah. And then, 2 seconds later, you're going to experience that in the real life, So, I don't know. It's not something that I think it would make people too lazy on the road.
It wasn't me, it was the car.
It's like I was sleeping because I had 20 minutes before I was
watching podcasts and I don't even know.
So, I don't know. But, who knows? They could easily come up with something like that.
Well, the cool thing about the maglev system in Minority Report is just that how it would drive up to your skyrise, apartment, like it would go vertical, horizontal, anywhere. So I don't know, that would be really neat.
But everybody's car looked the same. There's no way. Like all the bros out in East County and San Diego would not want to be driving the same oval-shaped car on a magnetic road when they
gotta have their Cali
they want to be
lift
driving something that they supposedly drive off-road, which most of them probably don't. They just want a lifted truck.
They've never seen dirt in their life.
That's I think that's an inevitable outcome as far as transportation goes, but it's very far off. It's definitely more far off than what they show in Minority Report. So.
Yeah, I mean, I could see it in like highly. Like a San Francisco or New York
or Tokyo
type place.
Or something like that. Definitely like
somewhere where it's highly congested, where traffic's a huge problem.
Yeah,
but I mean, even LA, I can see that. Even though
people love to drive in LA,
Yeah, so who knows? Who knows what's gonna go? So let's move on to talking about some things that, maybe we'd like to see, or that things that have become like commonplace that have come from science fiction. What are some things that,
Okay, well, we've all, I think, the Minority Report, like their operating system is really like the iPhone operating system is the first baby step towards that, and now we're starting to see it with the Xbox Project Natal. So I think really the iPhone is probably, where that's going, with the whole just user interface, being able to use your hands for easy access to everything. You know what? Probably if we're gonna talk Star Trek, I would say the phaser, like the early phaser. This is back in the 60s. The phaser, when they would put it in like stun mode, is really the first stun gun. Which I'm sure at that time, that must have been just crazy. Thinking, like, oh yeah, I'm sure you can just stun a person.
Shoot electricity and stun somebody.
Yeah. So just normal.
The phaser became the taser.
Yeah.
So yeah,
all they had to do was change the spelling.
There you go.
Yeah. Justin had a good point about Star Trek.
Oh yeah, the Star Trek communicator seemed like it was just ridiculous, even back in the Next Generation days of the early to mid '90s there.
Oh yeah.
And now it's like with Bluetooth and whatnot, that's what it is. I mean,
or a cell phone.
Or just cell phones are that big now. Yeah. But I mean, the communicator was like basically like Bluetooth, and that seemed like so ridiculous back then, and now everybody has it. Yeah. And even the Next Generation's computer screens, where they're all touchscreen, for controlling the ship and whatnot. That seemed ridiculous back then too, and now touchscreen is everywhere, and it's going to be everywhere for the next 5 years. So, Star Trek. I mean, they predicted a lot of things pretty accurately, I'd imagine, but as far as where they're saying, I mean, Next Generation was based in 2300 or something like that was the year, the 24th century or something like that.
It's up there, yeah, definitely.
They gave them way too much time.
It won't take that.
We're going to be way beyond that at that point. if the human race is still around at that point, anyways, I should say.
Yeah. Well, even like Quantum Leap had like a communicator type thing, too.
I've never seen a Quantum.
You've never watched Quantum Leap?
I never did.
Oh my god!
And I'll go out and I'll say I've never seen a Highlander as well.
I've never seen Highlander, but you need to watch Quantum Leap, dude.
Well,
it's on Netflix. Watch instantly.
All right, done.
It's awesome. But it's very 80s. It's like very MacGyver-ish, but still good.
It's Scott Bakula, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Dude, gotta watch it. But yeah, anyway. Although that had to do with time travel.
Well, yeah.
A communication device. Yeah, like the guy that helped him. I can't think of his name. He had a little, communication device, and he would communicate with the computer back. It was like his Google device, basically, and he would communicate with the computer back in the future, and find out statistics and information and stuff like that. It was he'd like basically Google answers and see what the future was, and then he'd have to try find out how to fix it so he could leap into another time. Dude, that was an awesome show. You need to watch that, definitely. I should have mentioned that. I didn't even think about it.
Luckily, that's the good thing about editing.
Yes. Although that's way
too much trouble,
so I'm not going to do that.
I think our listeners will forgive.
Yeah.
And also, lightsabers, another thing that they actually are working on right now. There's going to be a Discovery Channel show coming out here pretty soon that's going to talk about them actually, a couple scientists trying to make an actual lightsaber with plasma material. It's actually happening.
Wow.
That's crazy.
It's about damn time.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, from what I heard,
make the noise though.
From what I heard, it's not going to be lethal. It's not going to be able to cut through anything like the the lightsaber of Star Wars lore, but it'll be able to be an actual laser beam that will be lightsaber looking. That it's not going to be contained in a tube or anything. It's
Yeah, if you can just have a laser beam that's got like an actual physical, like a presence, that's not just pure light, that it actually contacts something,
Yeah,
exactly.
That's a cool first step.
So I'm not sure the name of the show. It's coming out pretty soon on the Discovery Channel. I'll have to look up the name of the show. I'm not sure, but it's coming out I think next week or the week after. Yeah. But yeah, it's going to be about that exact subject, about these scientists that are working to make an actual lightsaber.
That's crazy. They're probably going to do other stuff too, which is pretty cool.
fucking, it's a dream, man.
Well,
It's
and
crazy.
then like just a lot of prosthetics and robotics that are coming out that
yeah.
were very like Terminator-ish, as well as any kind of sci-fi with robots. Like they're very like they're having prosthetics, like robotic prosthetics that basically are hooked up to your brain, and you you basically have to go through like a physical therapy type thing to control them. But you'll be able to basically control them like you would your normal hand. But it's all robotic and touch sensitive, which there was a couple TED Talks that were very similar to that, where they kind of, they were a few years ago, but they kind of talked about the beginning parts of that whole thing, where they're bringing modern robotics and things like that into the whole prosthetic world to help amputees and stuff like that. So, I mean, that's just a little bit closer to having, you know, robotic people like Johnny Five, but
biomechanics.
Crazier. Yeah, exactly.
Well, who wouldn't want their own little robot? You know,
I don't know, man.
Crazy.
I wouldn't mind a robotic like nanny, or not nanny, but maid.
Yeah,
because that would be cool. Like,
I mean, artificial intelligence in general is escalating so rapidly. It's pretty crazy. I mean, we're going to be at a point here in like 5 years where there will be like walking, talking robots that can mimic our, you know, our emotions, possibly our, you know, everything. Who knows? We're almost there.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's another thing that on TED, which I guess since
robot girlfriends, who knows?
Yeah, you never know. You know, why not? But yeah, if you really want to know what is coming out, definitely check out the TED podcast, or check out TED.com, because a lot of the people that speak are basically talking about how new technology is coming out that's very similar to what was science fiction at one point. Like crazy. Like there's one where it was like a robot head, and it could just detect your facial expressions.
I think I saw that. Yeah, if you scorned at it, like if you looked at it being, it would look at you like it was like sad. Yeah, I saw that, and it would follow. Like if you hold up a pin to it, it would follow the pin around.
Yeah, so basically, it could like follow your whole body, body language and stuff like that, and react accordingly. And it was amazing. And then there was another one. I don't know if it was the same talk, but they had two of those same robots, and they basically came up with like a language by having them talk to each other for a long enough time. But they're doing crazy things. There's like really smart people out there doing really crazy stuff that could easily become really scary, but also really helpful for people that are less fortunate or whatever. So
yeah, it makes you worry a little bit less about ever having to lose a limb or something. Hopefully it's just a matter of time that it'll be almost as good as new. Of course it'll never be an arm, but it'll be.
Well, it might be better. You might turn into like RoboCop or something.
Exactly.
Or bionic whoever. So yeah,
RoboCop.
I'm sure eventually it would actually be that way.
RoboCop 2 was. Did you guys ever see RoboCop 2?
I don't remember. I probably did, but I don't remember.
Where he pulls the spinal cord and brain out of that evil robot at the end and smashes it in the ground.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Awesome.
Yeah.
I love that we're talking about that.
RoboCop.
Well, yeah, man, RoboCop. Well, it's science fiction, and that actually could be, true pretty soon. But not as 80s like. More streamlined.
I think the first RoboCop was it 89, 88? I'm not sure, but
I want to say 88, probably maybe even 87.
We already spent too much time on RoboCop. Let's move on.
Yeah, it doesn't deserve it.
Yeah. All right. Did you guys have any more to add to the whole science fiction thing, or should we just move on to our recos for this week?
I think we're good. I think people know where we're coming from.
Oh yeah. To make a long story short, Sci-Fi is not sci or not. Wait.
Not fi.
Not fi.
It's not fi.
It's not going to be fi forever.
It's Sci-Rai.
Sci-Rai.
Galatai.
Sci-Ri.
Sci-Rai.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, eventually that stuff. And there's actually I was listening to one of the last twits, and they had one of their co-hosts on there was a science fiction author, and he got requested to be in this panel for a government agency along with other science fiction authors and other like scientists and things like that to kind of discuss it was more of a medical thing, like how to cure certain diseases and stuff like that, but it was crazy that like these science fiction authors were, you know, kind of added to the mix as far as finding out the new ideas for whatever, because they're very forward-thinking types of people.
Well, yeah, actually, I heard that same episode, and I can't remember exactly what his name is, but he's like one of the grandfathers of science fiction writing.
Yeah.
I don't know. Very, very interesting guy to listen to. I like
Definitely.
We're not doing him any justice, but there's some guy.
That guy. Well, you know, whatever. Yeah. So let's just move into our weekly recommendations for the week. This is the part where we recommend whatever we're into. It could be application, a game, a book, a magazine, music, movie, whatever it is. Just something that we want to recommend to our listeners. So, Derek, why don't you start it off with your recommendation for the week?
All right, in keeping with our theme, doing a sci-fi pick. This is going to be really simple for anybody listening to this. If you haven't seen this, then you're dumb. I'll just say it. Star Trek 2009. That is my pick of the week. As I just got it on DVD.
That's a good pick.
Ago. Yeah, dude. If you haven't seen,
you didn't get it on Blu-ray.
I don't. My PS3 is broken, so I can't watch the Blu-ray. But it's actually cheaper to get the Blu-ray right now. The Blu-ray on Amazon is $19 for 3 discs. That's like 2 discs of the movie and a third bonus like iTunes disc.
Okay. Digital download, which is like usually just a code.
Yeah. Oh, I know. It's a pain in the ass. Like, really, it should just be, here, rip it. It
it's an MP4. Just copy it.
But like the 2-disc DVD with the digital download is like $24, so it's cheaper to get the Blu-ray right now. So anyone who's watching or listening to this show, I think you've probably already seen this movie, but if you haven't, do yourself a favor, watch it. It's not that geeky. No, it's cool.
Yeah,
it's cool like Star Trek now. So, J.J. Abrams Star Trek.
Nice. Justin King, what is your recommendation for the week?
Well, I'm also going to stay with the theme and recommend a website where I get most of the stories I recommend for this podcast, especially the one I just recommended this week about video scenes pulled from people's minds. I might have recommended it before, but I'm not sure. It's popularscience.com, popsci.com. I think I did recommend it on our website.
We did like a review of like blogs that
we that's right.
That we liked, yeah.
But I had to revisit it though because to just keep track of sci-fi that's becoming sci-ri, as I said, go to this website because this website is based on that exact subject. It's basically the new revolutions in science and technology and how they're reshaping our world. And there's even a story here if you go to it right now about new robots for your every need, which ties into our subject a little bit.
Well, shit, how much do they cost? I can use them.
Yeah, exactly. It's a picture of a Japanese girl who's actually a robot. It's kind of crazy.
Sold. All right.
popularscience.com, like I said, is the place where I keep up with, just like the subject of our episode, science fiction that's becoming science reality. It's amazing.
Awesome. And mine is totally keeping with this whole genre of podcast tonight is it's actually a game. It's an iPhone game. I didn't really do any iPhone game app / stuff before. Now I seem to be doing nothing but that stuff. So but it's super addicting. It's Geodefense Swarm.
Yeah.
I got addicted to the first version, the Geodefense game, probably like 6 months ago or whatever.
Which in turn got me addicted to that game as well.
It's so amazing. What is that genre of game called? It's like
Tower defense.
Yeah. But it's very like Tron-esque design type of stuff, and like when stuff blows up, like the screen warps and like things, it gets crazy when a lot of stuff blows up. But Geodefense Swarm is like insane. Like the first one I was able to get through the whole game eventually after a while, but this one I'm super stuck, like trying to get through the medium difficulty levels. But it's so addicting. That game is so hard, and like I'll lose on a level like 5 times, and then I'll like take a break and watch a podcast or something like that, or watch a movie, and the whole time I'm like thinking of strategies in my head. I like want to take screenshots of certain levels so I can plot out where I want to lay the towers, just because it's insane. But yeah, it's like a $2 game. I think it's $1.99, I believe. I forgot to put that stuff, but it's pretty cheap. It doesn't cost that much, and it is, if you like tower defense games, it's fun as hell. So mine is iPhone game, Geodefense Swarm. Check it out. So let's just wrap this show up, guys, and tell everybody, tell me, tell Derek, tell Justin, tell Ray,
the world,
yes, where we can find more of our work online. Justin King, where can we find more of you virtually?
More of me virtually. Well, first you should go to jkdesigns.squarespace.com. That is my portfolio / blog of sorts. You can also find me on twitter.com / JustinKing1, capital J, capital K, and the number 1. You can also friend me up on facebook.com / JustinKing1. No capitals there, and also the number 1. And that's where you can find me on the magical world of internet.
Derek Helmer, where can we find you on the magical world of the internet?
Well, on this internet that I like to call the web, I can be found at DerekHelmer.com, DerekHelmer.com. That's where you can see me talk about randomness and post pics and stuff, which I've been lazy. I haven't really been updating as much as I should, especially with the new like Squarespace iPhone app. But I'll get on that as soon as life gets a little less hectic. And you can follow me on Twitter at twitter.com / Derek Helmer, all one word.
Nice. That's it.
Oh, and yes.
I was like, wait a minute, that was pretty short.
we haven't recorded an episode in 2 weeks, but it's still around. You can see me on Studio 20 with Jennifer Townsend, and you can find that over at blueeyedgirl.com, girl spelled GERL.
Nice. Okay. And as always, you can find my constant ramblings at twitter.com / Ray Taylor. You can find the website updates for the inspireddisorder.com website at twitter.com / inspireddisorder. There's no E in disorder. You can also friend us all up, Justin, Derek, and myself, at inspireddisorder.net. That is the official Inspired Disorder social network. And you can also check out all the work I'm doing at inspireddisorder.com, anywhere from fine art to mashups to creative writing, and also podcasts. And just some credits for this episode. You can go to inspireddisorder.com / podcast. That is where you can subscribe, comment, download, view the show notes, and listen to back episodes. If you have any questions or suggestions for our show, or any topics you want us to talk about, email those to inspireddisorderpodcast@gmail.com. inspireddisorderpodcast@gmail.com. It's a new email address for the podcast, so send those there. You can also listen to us live every Wednesday starting around 11:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time at inspireddisorder.com /live. And you can check out the ever-growing selection of Inspired Disorder podcast merch and Inspired Disorder merch at inspireddisorder.com /store. There's a new podcast shirt up there for the podcast.
Very cool
and
design,
I'm
by the way.
working on. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely.
And I'm working on some new stuff, trying to get stuff up. And one thing, I know the pictures up there, it shows like a white shirt with just the design on it. But if you click on it and you want to purchase it, you can customize it as far as choosing different types of shirts. Just because there's a male model as the model, you can also choose their female versions of it. You can also get it in hoodies and sweatshirts and long sleeve shirts. There's many other options to get that design on a particular clothing option. So anyway, go to inspireddisorder.com/store and buy some stuff. And you can always donate to the show. We have links up at the page. So as we do every week at the end of the show, thank you all for listening.
Before we go,
Oh, yeah.
I must say best of wishes, well wishes to Jennifer Townsend, a friend of the
That's
show who was involved in what looked like a pretty crazy car accident. Derek
Yes,
Helmer
that's
might
right.
want
Yeah.
to explain a little more about that, but I saw the twit pic and it looked pretty gnarly. So best of
Yeah,
wishes to her for a speedy recovery, most definitely.
she's doing all right. She's hanging in there. She hurt her hand pretty bad and bruises all over the body and chest and neck injuries. But yeah, she rear-ended somebody and her car is totaled now as a result. But she's alive and okay, so I'm very grateful. She's in good spirits, just in a lot of pain.
Well,
So,
I'm
right
glad
on.
she's doing well. And
Get
At
well
fir-
soon.
yeah, definitely. Totally. Get well soon. And
All
when I
right,
first saw the tweet, I was like, is this a joke? Because Derek just got in a car accident like a month ago.
It's
But,
just it's
yeah.
this dang desert. It's
Yeah.
dangerous.
Yeah, those old people do not know how to drive out in the
Uh.
desert. And that's why I moved to San Diego, because there's slightly less old people driving.
Yeah.
Especially during the winter time. The winter time is the worst in the desert. There's more of them there.
Well, the important part is her brand new iPhone survived without.
Well, that's good.
without damage.
Yeah.
So there you
Did she
go.
happen to use iRect?
I told her. Oh man, there's another opportunity gone. Use
Yeah.
iRect.
I was actually thinking that, but I was like, that's very insensitive for me to ask if she used an iPhone app that her boyfriend recommended on one of our first.
She took plenty of pictures of the accident
Yeah.
scene with her iPhone though, so yeah,
Oh,
it
man.
came in handy in its ways, and I think the tweet pic and everything right there.
Yeah,
so.
I was like, wow, they belong to each other because they both
Oh, I
tweet
I
their
saw that
accidents.
first pic and I was like, wow, this is pretty bad.
That's
Like,
why I
looked
thought it was crazy.
gnarly.
Because
Yeah.
that car
Uh,
looked.
I was worried for a while there. I really
Oh,
was.
I know.
Seeing
Like-
the damage to the car.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it's not pretty. Once you see, I'm gonna have her post pictures up on her blog or something of all the different angles. But yeah, like when you just see it from the front, you're like, oh, and then you see it from the side, oh,
Yeah.
like so.
Well,
it was
it wasn't that bad because she tweeted.
Yeah, that's that was
So,
my reason as well.
I mean, if I'm ever in a catastrophic thing, that's like one of the last. Although now that I say that, as long as
Not
my hands
this
are working
day.
and
Yeah.
my phone is working, then I'm tweeting. I'll be like,
Well,
yep, I just got in a plane accident.
Yeah, exactly.
Look at the fire that I'm surrounded by.
I'm missing my left arm, but I can still tweet with my right
Or
arm.
maybe slightly tanner when I get out.
Oh man,
Yeah.
I was driving. When she called me, I came rushing from where I was at about an hour away.
Yeah.
And so I'm driving down, and I have like the iPhone in the TomTom cradle, so it's right there at my eye level. And then I get this MMS alert come in, and she sent me the picture that she tweeted. So I'm already panicking as I'm driving down to her, and then I see this picture, and I'm just, oh my freaking gosh, dude, I cannot believe like it is that bad. And so the MMS feature of the iPhone, I was not a fan of that day. That it was such a distraction. I was just like,
Understandable.
Yeah.
anxiety, but she's hanging in there. So
As long as she's okay, a little banged up, but she's okay.
yeah, she's
That's
okay.
the
I don't
most
know how
important
she
thing.
walked out of that accident, because that looked pretty rough. And I've been pulling stuff out of the car yesterday, and it's just that car is there's no hope for it.
Yeah.
But I will definitely pass on the well wishes.
Awesome. Sweet. Well then, let's end it, guys. With the
All right.
with the TRS fist bump.
That's right.
The fucking gobble gobble shit was awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right, guys. Well,
All right,
have a great night, and for everybody listening, peace out.
Peace out. Next week's announcement.